Welcome to the Pixl Marketing Show, the podcast for real estate media pros who want to go from random acts of marketing to remarkable results. I'm your host, Pete Stagel, founder of Pixl CRM and creator of the Pixl Marketing Method. And every week, we're diving into the systems, strategies, and real stories that help you attract better clients, retain them longer, and grow a real business. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the show. So, over the last several days, I've been talking to some of my coaching clients, and as they go through the Pixl Marketing Method and they're going through all of the 9 steps of the framework, they get to the end, which is amplify and expand, and they start looking for the next magic bullet, the next thing, the next tactic, the next shiny object to take them to that next level. And I had a really long conversation with several of my students, because when they started their business, especially the newer ones that haven't run businesses before, the next tactic can make you have this huge jump. When you first start your real estate media business, you don't have a whole lot going on from a business standpoint, and you're starting to do all these little things, trying to get new business and expand your business, and little things can have a big impact. And so you find this new tactic. Oh, maybe I'll cold call. Maybe I'll send out a couple of emails. Maybe I'll do the Instagram method or the Omni outreach method. And it's this new tactic that you didn't even know about that all of a sudden can get you so much business and can get you to that next level. And so it seems like that's what you're always going to be chasing, is that next cool thing that's going to get you to that next level. But once you get to a certain point, it's no longer that next big thing. There is no magic bullet or shiny object that's going to magically allow you to double your business. It's going to turn into more of the mindset, more of the doubling down on what's working, not just trying to find the new tactic. And so I've been having these conversations with these coaching students, because as they go through the framework, they're building all of these systems and processes, and then they start saying, "Okay, I've got all this going. It's all working. It's doing its thing. How do I double my business? How do I triple my business so that I can continue to grow?" And it really comes down to going back to the foundations, going back to the fundamentals, going back to what is working now, doubling down on what's working, and eliminating the things that aren't. So, for instance, if you're going through the Pixl Marketing Method and you're creating your irresistible offer, your transitional offer, and your introductory offer, and all of those offers that you're doing, and you're getting that offer in front of people. Foundationally, that's how you get new business, is you create an offer and you get it in front of more people. And so if you're doing that, now you start looking at the numbers on it. Now you start looking at, well, how effective is that? How well is that performing? And ultimately, small little tweaks in the message, in the offer, in the audience that you're getting in front of is going to have a dramatically larger impact when you have a business that's actually doing some volume than it would have before. So there's a concept called statistically irrelevant data, and if you are running through and you get that offer in front of 400 people. And you think that, well, I've got 20 people who raise their hand and say, yes, I want the transitional offer out of that, and 2 people book a shoot. It doesn't seem like a whole lot. Well, that's what's considered statistically irrelevant. You need to get that offer in front of a lot more people and get a lot more data on whether that offer is working or converting appropriately or not. And so you start looking at these little metrics here and there, and you start looking at well, if I can increase the rate that somebody raises their hand on my transitional offer by 5%, 10%, it's going to dramatically increase the output at the end, the number of booked shoots and the number of clients that you bring in to your business. And so it's not the next new little tactic of, hey, I've never heard of this cool thing over here, let me go try that. Or somebody comes out with a process that's working for them, and they start teaching it. To be fair, Omni outreach method is one of those tactics that you can use, but inside of the Pixl Marketing Method framework, it's not just a tactic; it's a strategy. And so, there's a lot of people out there that are pitching or trying to teach single tactics, and if you go and continue to chase after those, it's effectively the random acts of marketing. You're doing, let me go try this one thing over here, isolated, doing nothing other than that one little thing. Let me try this tactic over here, and let's do this thing over here. Whereas when you start plugging things into your framework and your systems and processes, which is what we do at Pixl CRM and the Pixl Marketing Method, then you start having stuff that you can do incremental changes here and there, and having that tremendous change in output at the end of that framework. So the whole point of the amplify and expand section of the Pixl Marketing Method framework is to go back and start looking at the things that are working, the things that you're putting time and money and effort into that is actually bringing new clients in, that's actually retaining the clients that you want, and start looking at that and say, well, how do I improve this? How do I get more people to see my offer if your offer's working? How do I get more people to claim your offer? Sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, if you look at pixelcrm.com, that website has not changed much over the last year. And the messaging there is actually, quite frankly, a little out of date. But when you start looking at the messaging, you start looking at what you created there, a lot of times you'll just run it through ChatGPT, toss it up on your website, and you're done. And you just think, okay, that's it. But then you start looking at making those small changes that can dramatically impact the conversion rate, can dramatically impact the number of people that are raising their hand saying, I like what you have to say, tell me more. So going back into my history, I've done a lot of internet marketing and whatnot. And back when we were doing, we were selling products online through direct response websites. And we were very, very conversion optimized to make sure that everybody who landed on that page actually took the action we wanted them to take. And little things like the color of the checkout button, the headline, the images that are on it, all of that plays into into whether or not somebody actually takes the action that you want them to do. They book a shoot, they claim your offer, they take that next step. And so I learned early on that those little tiny things that you wouldn't think that would do a whole lot, like I said, the color of a checkout button, or the submit button, the book now button, dramatically could change how many people would actually click on it. And so those little changes there can cascade down and dramatically improve the funnel and improve the process that you've put in place. So that's what you need to be, start focusing on once you've got the system up and running. And ultimately it comes back down to, we teach transitional offer, a direct offer, an introductory offer. We don't tell you necessarily what to do. We'll right now the free stock photos works well. I like that as an offer. It's not saturated just yet, but at some point it will be. And so those tactics, they come and go. And so you can't rely on tactics to keep to sustain your growth. You have to rely on a foundational process and the systems and the automations and the foundation that you're building with the Pixl Marketing Method and with the systems in Pixl CRM. And so you're going to change your transitional offer over time. You're gonna come up with something new, something that you're gonna test something different with your target market. You're going to find that certain offers are going to work really well, and certain offers may fall flat with your audience. Everybody's audience is slightly different. Everybody is going after a slightly different demographic and location and all, what have you. So you have to understand, which is why we have magnetic messaging as that initial module, is that you have to understand who you're targeting. And then you have to understand what their pain points are. Then you have to understand why they do business the way they do, and and why they select the people that they do. And then you create an offer and create a transitional offer that gets them to raise their hand and say, I like what you have to say. Tell me more, and then maybe we'll be able to do business together. And so it's just interesting as I talk to more and more clients and coaching students, as you're almost taught when you first started your business to go after the tactics, because you have no idea what you're doing. You're trying to figure out how to get new clients, how to do business, how to do everything, and it's these tactics that you're taught to actually start doing that. Whereas it's a strategy that actually is sustainable. It's a strategy that actually gets you to grow and scale your business. And that strategy ultimately comes down to that foundational of what is your framework, what is your process, what is your business actually built on, which is the Pixl Marketing Method for most people that are listening to this. And so it's a fundamental shift that you have to make from a mindset of to not be chasing the next tactic, and to double down on the strategy and the framework and the systems and processes that you've already put together, rather than chasing those shiny objects. And there's a lot of them out there. Everybody's advertising and going after the next new thing, and some of those tactics can work, and if you plug them into your main system, they can even work and work even better. But just know that the next tactic, the next thing that somebody is trying to sell you on, isn't necessarily going to double or triple or quadruple your business overnight. Nothing. When you're first starting out and you've got $1,000 a month, doubling your business is easy. Tripling your business is easy. Scaling it to $10,000 a month is easy. But when you're at that $30,000 and $40,000 and $50,000 a month, you're not going to have that level of doubling and tripling pt. You can over time by putting your offer in front of more people, increasing your conversion rate, increasing your opt-in rate, and all of your metrics there. But ultimately, you have to also look at, well, what is your actual goal? Is your goal getting more clients? Or you start zooming out and start looking at the rest of your business. Maybe you need to increase your average order value. Maybe you need to increase your retention rate so that more people are coming back more often. Maybe you need to get your offer in front of more people. If you're, and I talk to some people like this, some of our clients as well, is that they scrape a list of 1,000 people and they send their offer to 1,000 people. So that's great, but now what? In my market, with my real estate media business, we had 6,000 agents in the entire state, but we had about 20% turnover every year. So there's always new people to get in front of. There's always new people to be getting your offer in front of. And a lot of the markets that I talk to clients in, they got 40, 50,000 agents. You're going to be able to get in front of a lot of people. And so getting that offer in front of more people can do a lot. Like I said, statistically irrelevant data. You want to have enough people going through your funnels, seeing your offer, so that they can make a decision on whether they want to engage you or not. And then you also have to have the right time. So that there's that too, which is why if you continuously have good offers and you're getting that offer in front of people over and over and over again, eventually they'll be able to raise their hand and say, what, I do want to hear more about you. And so it's these little changes, little tweaks, little things that can have a huge impact. And you just need to double down on those rather than chasing that shiny object. Because I'll tell you, I've chased a lot of shiny objects over my life and my career, and they're more distracting, more expensive than you would have ever imagined when you lose focus on what actually is going to drive your business forward and what actually you should be working on. And then because you have to shift gears, you have to shift your focus, and you start putting money in different places, and it's like, if you just double down on what was already working, you'd be so much further. If you just tweak that one headline, or just tweak that offer, or tweak that email sequence so that it performed better, you would have so much more success if you had just done that. And so it really does come down to just looking at what you've already done, going back through the framework, going back through your target market, your offer, your USP, your nurture sequences, your client connection roadmap. What are you doing to stay top of mind, and testing and tweaking, and you get plenty of time, plenty of work to do just by doubling down on what's working and eliminating the things that aren't. And elimination really is a huge piece too. I did a lot of real estate. It's always very people and relationship based, and so I would get in front of a lot of agents by going to this local association and being on a lot of the committees and boards and whatnot there. And several years in a row, I had to stop doing certain things that just weren't working for me. I was showing up to it was a YPN committee, and in my market, they would do like a coffee meetup every month, and I was going to that every month all year long. And I started looking at it, it's like, I'm seeing the same 5 people. Those same 5 people are, were friendly and whatnot, but they're not using me for whatever reason. I think most of it was because they didn't have any listings, but they weren't using me. They weren't recommending me and referring me. And so was that a good use of my time, or was I just driving, 30 minutes to this coffee meetup, spending an hour there and driving 30 minutes back, wasting 2 hours of my day each time, plus meetings and whatnot, for no actual return? Is that effective? It's not. I could spend that 2 hours doing something much more effective. And so, knowing what to stop doing is just as important as doubling down on the things that are working. And so those are the things that you really need to be focusing on to get you to that next level. There's never going to be that magic bullet that you just, all of a sudden, hey, if I do this one thing, if I press this one button here, it's going to dramatically change the way my business works. In the beginning, when you don't know much, when you're still learning, when you're still trying to figure out frameworks and strategy and process, yeah, you can have things like that. But once you've hit that stride where you're actually doing business, you're not going to find those magic bullets. So it's much better to just double down on what's working. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I do want everybody to, if you're headed to PMRE in November, that Wednesday we'll be hosting a book signing, marketing mastermind, live Q&A type of thing. Happy hour. You do need to RSVP, mainly because I have no idea where it's going to be. We have a suite reserved, but it's until we get there, we won't know what the number is and whatnot. But it'll be from, I believe, 5 to 7, right in between some other networking things that are going on. So definitely RSVP. The link is in the show notes of here. I think it's also pixelcrm.com/PMRE25. Should get you there. And of course, if you're at PMRE, I'll be walking around with a backpack that says, ask me about Pixel CRM and the Pixel Marketing Method. And I'll have a QR code that you can scan as well. So really looking forward to seeing a lot of you there, and to be hosting the book signing mastermind event. I think we're going to have a really cool group of people that are, doubling down on marketing and really growing and systemizing their business. So, well, we'll see you all there. And if not, definitely check out PMRE for next year. It's always a great event, and getting around to other business owners in real estate media and seeing what's working across the country. And it can be really isolating when you're just running your business in your local area. And so being able to come around a large group of other people doing the same thing, it's a great time, and it's a great way to come up with new ideas for the new year. So hope to see you there, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Pixel Marketing Show. If
you're ready to go from random acts of marketing to remarkable results, grab your free copy of the Pixl Marketing Method at pixelmarketingmethodbook.com. If this episode helped you, share it with another real estate media business owner. Make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time.